Morning, Coach.
Hey, good morning, guys.
Ruben and then Jeff.
Hey, Doug. Good morning. Thanks for your time.
Good morning.
Hey, with Jalen out, I was just wondering where you are with JJ Arcega-Whiteside, where your confidence is with him right now.
Yeah, I've always been been confident in JJ. What I like about JJ is he's a player that we can use in multiple positions. He knows outside, he knows inside. Smart guy, and someone that we're going to have to lean on a little bit here in these next couple of games.
Go ahead, Jeff, and then Ed Benkin.
Doug, have you ever played quarterback in the NFL? Just kidding.
Barely. I was like, as you guys know, I was the career backup. So yeah, just a little bit.
Yeah. Doug, you tried to explain the other day about what Press's duties were on game day, and I was just wondering if you give us a little more detail as to who handles, like, I know that Frank Reich and Mike Rowe would help you out during the 2-minute drill. Is that now Press's role on game days? Did you hear it?
No, I think I understand the question. The last part of it cut out. The way the sideline and the way the descriptions, obviously, without getting into too much detail and maybe to bore you guys. Press obviously controls and coaches the quarterbacks. He's also the one that he and I talked to during the game. He also goes to the rest of the staff. We've got, obviously, as you guys know, we have a couple of lines on off at the headsets where he can gather a lot of information from the other coaches and get the information to me. Rich, who's in the press box, does a great job with our 2-minute situational football there. And he's in my ear quite a bit in some of the 2-minute drives. And then really everything kind of just funnels its way through press and then eventually comes to me, unless I go directly to Stout with a run question or some run plays that we might be interested in.
Go ahead, Ed, and then Kristen.
Hi, Doug. As an opposing coach this week and a former quarterback, what's impressed you most about Joe Burrow from what you've seen from him the first 2 weeks?
Well, obviously, his ability to extend plays. Also, his ability to hang in there, be tough in the pocket. He's taken some hits these first couple of weeks and really bounce up. And I just think nothing has really fazed him. He's mentally tough, physically tough. He's a good athlete. He throws a really good football, very accurate football, a catchable football. And those are all great things that a young, he being a young quarterback can possess, obviously, with a team that has, the weapons and firepower that they have on offense.
Kristen and then Les.
Good morning, Doug. We've seen some pretty hefty fines and violations come down for coaches not properly wearing their masks over the first week. Yes. So we saw you try out that face shield and then go back to, yes, the other mask. So I'm curious if maybe you're trying different alternatives because of some of the violations we've seen come down this week.
Yeah, and it really wasn't because of the violations. I did want to try a couple of face shields this week in practice. One was the first one I had on Wednesday. It was good. It kind of contours to the face just a little bit, but it wasn't strong enough in the wind. The one I had on yesterday morning in the walkthrough, which you didn't see, was a little more of a wind face shield, a little more stable in the wind. The only issue I had with really both of them is they get warm, right? They're a little bit closer to your face, so a lot of your, whether the temperature's warm, there was, humidity on Wednesday and on Thursday, and so it got a little bit warm on the face, and so I went back to the mask yesterday afternoon just to kind of get the fresh air right on my face. So I haven't made a decision yet. Still kind of working through a couple of face shields and masks right now, but I will have something on my face for sure.
Les and then Zach.
There you go.
Hey, Nate Herbig at left guard and Matt Pryor at right guard. Can you give us a little more detail on why that's a better setup? Nate got those couple starts at right guard. Now he's got to make a change. What goes into that?
I'll tell you the number one thing is Matt Pryor for us has played right guard specifically. He played there last year. He played next to Lane last year. And he feels comfortable there. Nate's been the guy that we've been able to use in a couple of spots, right? He can also play center if need be. And so he's the one that we feel more comfortable in right now, being able to move him, to the left side. So both the guys have handled it extremely well. But really the main reason is that Matt Pryor is more comfortable and has played the right guard position more.
Thank you.
Zach and then Dave.
Hey, Doug, what did Alshon show you in practice yesterday, and how soon is it before he can start to play?
Yeah, it was great to get Alshon on the practice field, in some individual, the routes on air period that we were able to throw with him, and just beginning to incorporate him back into a full practice schedule. I'm optimistic, moving forward, in the next couple of weeks possibly. But again, it just depends on how he does, how he recovers today, right? You put a guy that's had an injury out there, you want to test it, you want to see where he's at, but it's all about today. It's the day after, 24 hours, how he recovers, and being able to do some more with them. And but yeah, I'm excited. We've got a little bit of time. I don't want to push him, but at the same time, it's good to see him get some work in with Carson.
And so, is this week not possible?
This week, no, it's too soon this week because he hasn't taken the practice reps needed.
Thanks.
Dave and then Rob Motti.
Hey, Doug, the decision to have Jalen Hurts up last week, was that just a decision made on merit as a quarterback, or did you factor in the other abilities he has like we saw him do on Sunday?
Well, obviously, yeah. I mean, in Jalen's case, he has a skill set that that we saw in college, obviously, and just felt like it was an opportunity to maybe get him sort of coming just a little bit. It's nothing against it's nothing against Nate Sudfeld or any of that. We feel we got two really good backup quarterbacks. And it's a week-to-week decision, quite frankly, based on opponent, based on game plan, and things like that. But the things we had in last week for him, he handled well, and it's just it's a small drop in the bucket, I think, to probably getting his career off and running at some point.
Rob and then Bo.
Doug, Jim Schwartz said the other day he put all the blame on himself, said his game plan was poor. And talking to players during the week, they appreciated him saying that, but also, of course, said that they have to execute better. You can always spread the blame around. We know that. But as a coach, how do you know when to put it all on yourself versus being critical or singling out guys' performance and execution?
I appreciate that from Jim, obviously, and we talk a lot about ownership and accountability, in the building, and it's no different with coaches. I look at my job and does the team come out flat? Is the team energetic? Is the team well prepared? I mean, those are all things that I look at, on a Sunday to say, hey, I can pinpoint, a couple of things that maybe during the week I can do a better job. So as a coach, you kind of pin that on yourself, and then as play callers, right? Jim and I are both play callers, and we evaluate ourselves the next day, and there's times there too when in front of the team, I'll quite frankly say, hey, I put you guys in a bad situation, and it was a situation that we weren't very successful in, right? So as coaches, you just know you're around the guys so much. We have to do, obviously a great job, with game planning and scheming and, obviously play calling. And then in private, I think away from, say, the media or the public setting, you can have hard conversations with your players. And just like the players are acknowledging that, yeah, it's on us as well, too, to go execute. We understand that. But you do that kind of stuff in private, away from the, public spotlight.
Go ahead, Bo, and then Jimmy.
Hey, Doug. Miles said last week after the game that he sort of struggled a little bit with conditioning towards the end of that game. What did you make of that? And do you expect a big jump there in his second game? Can you lean on him a lot on Sunday?
Yeah, you got to realize that without having preseason games, and he missed a lot of training camp practices and stuff like that. That conditioning to play for 60 minutes, that's real. It's things that I constantly remind the team of. We got better as a team in week 2, and we'll be better in week 3. As we play more games. But I'm not concerned with Miles because I know he's going to be stronger each week, right? And he's going to play himself into game shape, and he practices extremely hard, and that's all part of his conditioning and getting him ready to go on Sundays.
We got time for 2 more, so Jimmy and then John McMullen.
Hey, Doug, getting back to Alshon, when you have a team that's taken away the deep ball like the Rams did last week, would a healthy Alshon have been a big part of the game plan, working like the short to intermediate parts of the field? Or like maybe at a minimum, would you expect that he would draw like a bigger corner like Jalen Ramsey away from the other receivers?
In the case of the Rams, it's their defensive style is they're going to play a little bit softer on the back end because they don't want to get anybody over the top. They also play Jalen Ramsey from a schematic standpoint. Jalen's always the boundary corner, and the other 2 guys, I think it was 22 and 31. These guys are the field corners. And outside of 1 or 2 occasions did Jalen go to the field, and then in the red zone he matched up with Zach Ertz. So that's their philosophy, right? That's their scheme. So that part of it wouldn't have mattered. Jalen Ramsey wouldn't have gone with Alshon, so to speak, in situations like that. But Alshon being a big target, being an experienced receiver, there's some short to intermediate throws that you could probably target him, in that could open up some lanes, some windows. But it's just the way the structure of the Rams defense, the way they play.
Go ahead, John.
Hey, good morning, Doug. You kind of mentioned coaches know after a loss like the Rams last week, and now that you're later in the week, what kind of sense have you gotten from your team? And also Fletcher, I know you guys are trying to be cautious and calm that thing down. Is there any chance for him this week?
Yeah, in Fletcher's case, it's been day to day. He's gonna try to get some work in today, see where he's at physically, to see if he can go. But we'll see where he's at the end of the day today. Tomorrow, obviously another work day, and then make the decision on game day with him. The guys, they've responded extremely well, and Wednesday was a really good practice, very, very energetic, upbeat practice. Listen, the guys, that's one thing I love about this team this year is these guys understand that good football teams can't continue to make the mistakes we're making, right? And so obviously right now we're not there yet, right? We're not in that good category yet. We're I would say below average because of the turnovers and some of the mistakes that we're making. But the thing is they understand that, and they bounce back from that, and they pick each other up, right? So this week has been really good. We've had 2 good practices back to back, and we got another one today. So I'm not concerned about where the guys are. They understand. They're smart. Veteran leadership always takes over.
Thanks, Coach. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Doug.